International School of Pizza, Tony Gemignani's school. And I was doing pizza since 2004 in Telluride. Our pizza was just average, so I wanted to make it better. So I met Tony at International Pizza Expo. He said, hey, I'm starting this school, I got it going. I signed up right away for it. I went to the school, I was still doing round pizza in Telluride. After I went to at the end of the school, we had a pizza competition. I did a pesto pizza, a really simple one. They picked mine as the best. So Tony said, hey, you won the pizza competition at the end. You can come back again if you want and assist me. We'll really kind of be the dishwasher. You're not really an assistant. So I jumped on that opportunity. I went back actually to the next class the next month. At that class, there were some brothers from Detroit, the Hunt brothers. You guys probably know them in Austin, Texas, via 313. They were there trying to come up with a recipe for Detroit style. I grew up in Detroit, and when we would get pizza when I was a kid, you would just order, they would say, you want round or square? We never called it Detroit style back in the 80s and 90s. And I tried to figure it out in Telluride a couple times, and I just couldn't do it. So the Hunt brothers and Tony, we all got together, and they really springboarded me getting into it and really helped me develop a recipe for it. So I went back to Telluride after that, after the class, and I started experimenting with it. Getting Tony on the phone, getting the Hunt brothers on the phone, talking about dough, talking about sauce, talking about pans. It took me a while to come up with the recipe after that. And when I finally did, I'm like so excited to get it on the menu at Brown Dog. I put it on the menu, and we sell one pizza the first day, one Detroit-style pizza. It was kind of a blow to me. It took me a really long time to come up with that. I talked to Tony, he said, hey, you might want to get in the competition thing. Nobody's doing Detroit style. There's a guy in Detroit, Sean Randazzo, who also helped me come up with the Detroit style. He was competing, so I got in a competition. I started doing okay. I ended up winning one and then winning another. And then people were coming in to Brown Dog to try Detroit style pizza. My business partner here in Denver, this guy is Flanagan, we opened Blue Pan Pizza about 3 years ago in Denver. We wanted to expand Brown Dog, so we moved it to Denver. The Blue Pan's named after the Blue Steel Pan. We have 2 locations there now. But I wanted to, how many of you in the audience are making Detroit style at your restaurant now? So not that many. And how many would like to add it to the menu or are opening a pizzeria and you'd like to do Detroit style? Awesome. It's really popular. I want to go through the 5 things that I think that make it popular. I'm going to make some pizzas for you. We're going to start out with the pan. We're going to go into the dough. Then we're going to go why we put the sauce on top, the ovens that we use or the temperature that we use on the oven. And then the most popular thing is this caramelized crust, the caramelized cheese around it, and that's why everyone flips out, I feel, about Detroit style pizza. So pans. I think it all breaks down to consistency. You can use any pan. In Detroit, we use this 8x10, 10x14. You can use any shape pan. I know in Iowa, I've seen guys use a round pan and they're making Detroit style. So that it doesn't really matter. You know, you got to make a big investment in the pan. The thing I would say when you get the pans is to get all the same ones. Try out a couple different ones first, but when you're ready to like, hey, I got to put it on the menu, I'm serious about this, stick with one pan. Because your recipe that you guys develop individually and the oven that you have is going to be geared towards the pan that you're using. So I've experimented with all kinds of pans. Right now I'm using a Lloyd pan, they're great, but you know, any pan works. And this is really developed for my recipe, the Lloyd pan. The dough, it's crazy. I was talking to guys in the competition area yesterday. There was only a couple of us about 5 years ago doing Detroit style. Sean was doing it, Randazzo, and then I started doing it. Now the past couple of years, there's been a ton of guys doing it. I've done this seminar for probably 4 years now. The first time I did it, there was like 10 people in the audience. So this is crazy that so many people are. I'm very humbled that all you guys come to listen to me. I mean, I don't feel like I know that much about Detroit style pizza, although I've been doing it for like 8 years, but I'm still just a pizza maker. I'm a former ski bum, really, that started making pizza to pay the bills. And then obviously I have a passion for it now. But so the way that I do dough, I'm going to go through it. But when I was talking to the guys in the competition area, and I go through this every year, how I make my dough, they came up with a totally different way to do it, which I think is incredible that they would do that. They listened to what I said, they went back and did their own trial and error, and they have all these little tweaks that they do, and I was amazed by it. So I want to show you how I do it, and then I can tell you a couple things about how other people are doing it too, off of a spin-off of what I was doing. First, I'm starting out with a biga here. So a biga is just flour, water, yeast. And I usually do it the night before. Some people will keep this starter for, I know one guy, Will Grant, he's got his for like 120 years. It's in Belgium, at the museum there. Mine I do just the night before. Can you keep feeding it? Yeah, but it's simple. So the starter I like to do between 60 and 70% hydration. Now, given I'm at altitude in Denver, about 5,000 feet, Telluride about 9,000 feet, I'm probably using a little bit more water than you guys would use. Through my trial and error, I've ended up at about 64% for my starter. So I'm talking in baker's percentages too. So say I'm using 10 pounds of flour, it's going to be 6.4 pounds of water, and then I use probably a little bit less yeast than you guys would use at altitude too. I'm using about a 1/4% of yeast. So this I made yesterday. I just want to pass it around to you guys. You can smell it. Go ahead, I'm not going to use it. You can take it out, grab it, get a good scent of it. It gives lots of flavor and more complexity to your final dough, I feel like. Now, not everyone's using it. None of the guys I talked to yesterday, they're not using starters. Tony's using a starter, and that might be it that I know that are making Detroit-style pizza. So this is not necessary, it's just something that I do.
Thank you so much, Jeff, for that great introduction to Detroit-style pizza. You can visit Jeff at his pizzerias Brown Dog Pizza in Telluride, Colorado, and Blue Pan Pizza in Denver. I'll put all the resources Jeff discussed below this video. And while you're here, if you could show a little pizza love and subscribe, Pizza on Earth, goodwill to all.